The Northern Territory will be in the red for some years to come. The Henderson government's $5.3 billion budget handed down today will drag the Territory deeper into debt. The opposition says it shows the government's addicted to spending beyond its means, but the government says it needs to maintain spending to keep the economy moving.
The Treasurer says it's a tough, responsible budget, supporting an economy waiting for growth while maintaining services. Just like last year, Delia Lawrie is spending $5.3 billion, but the budget bottom line is underpinned by bigger debts. This year's forecast deficit has blown out by $100 million to $491 million. Next year, the deficit will be $449 million. In 4 years, it will be $278 million, with no prospect of a return to surplus. The government's blaming a $45 million drop in mining royalties and $125 million less in GST.
This government will not apply a handbrake to the economy in the pursuit of a surplus.
The percentage of debt the government owes compared to its income is forecast to increase from 35% this year to 48% next year and 74% in 4 years. The interest will start at $182 million a year.
We're looking at having to find $1 million every day to repay debt.
To achieve a surplus in 2011-12, the Territory government would have had to cut infrastructure spending by almost 40% and lose 1,000 Territory jobs.
Instead, the government has slightly reduced infrastructure spending in areas like roads, told departments to belt-tighten, but maintained core services funding. A $45 million increase in the overstretched health budget will be quickly gobbled up. So will modest increases for the police, prisons, child protection and schools.
They've had a decade of unprecedented income through the GST. They spent that, and now the only default position is to continue to spend.
Still feeling pressure over housing costs, the government's funding 140 more affordable rentals. It's maintaining first home buyer, family and pension concessions and grants. Indigenous communities will get more SIHIP housing, training programmes and airstrips, but there was no money spare for big social initiatives or pre-election lifestyle splurges. The government says it's made a sensible choice to maintain jobs and services during tough times, instead of making deep cuts to get out of deficit. The opposition says the debt will drain the Territory dry. It's yet to say what it would do differently. Jane Barton, ABC News.